Growing up in a little small town, I also grew up in a fairly strict sort of religious background. I grew up more apostolic holiness. I always joke around that I come from the church of no. Everything was no.
I love.
Like, can we go to the movies? No. You go swimming with shorts on? No. Like everything was no. I mean, it was, and I had an incredible mom and dad, God fearing mom and dad. But being raised in that environment, I also come from a fairly really small sort of, country town, man. The area of North Florida I'm from, we jokingly call it the redneck Riviera portion of Florida.
We've got the accent, so.
Yeah. So growing up there, Heather, I remember vividly. I was a big dreamer even as a kid. It got me in trouble at times. I mean, I knew God deposited something inside of me. I was obviously in church, camp meetings, revivals and stuff, but I didn't know how to foster that because I didn't have any examples to look to. I didn't know of anyone that was really successful in business or creating wealth or diving into any cultural mountain, that seemingly was off limits to most people in the church because we preached against everything. And it was like the Lord was coming back, tomorrow. So, there was no urgency to accomplish anything. So I say that because early in my life through ministry, and then I started evangelizing full time at 15 years old, and then started pastoring around 18 years old. I don't pastor now, but so I've always kind of been in ministry, and then I got married at 19 years old. And so throughout those early stages of my adulthood, I knew there was greatness locked inside of me. I knew that I could cross so many of those barriers and get through those glass ceilings. I just didn't know how. And so I think it boils down to one, being sensitive to the leading of God's voice, and then two, I think it comes with making sure that you place yourself in the right atmospheres and hear the right voices. And that's kind of what happened to me is I ended up getting around some right voices that were accomplishing things that were so far outside of my comfort zone. It sort of activated something that was already deposited in me, right? And when those things became active, I just sort of lived my life with such bold and sort of courageous faith that I felt like that if God placed me in an atmosphere and opened a door that I felt unqualified to go in, that I would have the courage to say, God, with you, it's possible, right? And I'll do it. So, whether it's the 6 books or, how God led us into executive producing movies in Hollywood and having movies at movie theaters and streamed on all the major platforms. And I don't consider myself an actor, but I've acted in movies. I've been in all kinds of Christian hip hop music videos. I mean, don't start looking for those. You'll laugh. And then the speaking engagement. Now, the speaking part sort of came natural to me, but as time evolved and I become successful through business, it became sort of a, duality, if you will. I mean, part of the time I was speaking in leadership conferences that wasn't necessarily kingdom based, and then the other half of the time I was consistently still preaching in churches, church conferences, and things like that. And so early on in my life, I gave God this laundry list of things I felt like that was locked inside of me that I wanted to accomplish. But then when the door was open, Heather, I think that's where most people sort of fail in fulfilling their kingdom destiny, is that oftentimes when the door does open, right, they feel too inadequate or they disqualify themselves from even the grace that God has bestowed upon their life to thrive in those arenas that are a little bit outside of their comfort zone. And so that's kind of been the journey for me. I feel like we're still just getting started. It is a little bit of a mystery, but at the same time, it's amazing to me at the relationships that God's given me with people that make big decisions, whether it be in the business world, the entertainment world, the church world. And so I just want to make sure that I maintain that relational equity with a sense of integrity and character. And at the end of the day, just represent God with all that I've got. And more importantly, that I charge every mountain that he's placed in my path, because I know on the other side of that mountain is the rewards that I've been praying for.